Hello, Minecraftians! Welcome to episode 21 of Realm News. I am your host, the Dark Lord, and I have another special episode today for all of you listeners out there. I have the pleasure to have a very talented Minecrafter on the show today. His name is Michael from the United Kingdom. I asked him to join the show because of his expertise in the game of Minecraft. I have been following him on Twitter, which is now X, since the start of Realm News, and I have seen his talented builds and knowledge demonstrated on that platform. So, without further ado, let's hear from the man himself. Hey, Michael.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Awesome.
Awesome. Hey, welcome to Realm News.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, to be honest. I'm quite nervous, but see how it goes.
Don't be nervous. It's just us talking about Minecraft.
I'm pretty good at that. So,
how you doing today?
yeah, I'm not too bad. Just kind of, chill weekend, really.
How's the weather over there?
I mean, it's just so weird, honestly. Like, it's supposed to be spring, but I'm not fully convinced. It will like chuck it down with rain, and I mean chuck it down.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. And then like 10 minutes later, it'll be sunny. So you're like kind of stuck. You don't really know what to do. Like, it's sunny right now, and that's good. Awesome. But in 5 minutes, it could chuck it down. You never know. So that's just great. It's really fun, really enjoyable.
I love the rain, and it makes it perfect to just chill inside and play Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like being in it. It's like a Minecraft. I don't like being in the rain in Minecraft, but listening to it is really nice.
You sound kind of like my brother. He hates the thunderstorms in the game.
They just, honestly, like, I've come back to my house many times, and it's just burned. Not like huge parts of it, but it's just burned. And I'm just like, well, great, of course. There's like 5 houses here, and of course my one is the one that gets burned. Yeah, great.
I think I remember you posted that, didn't you, on Twitter?
Yeah, I think I was either AFK or I was doing something in the village I was in, and I'm like, okay, let me go back to my house real quick for whatever reason, and I go like, I hear like a massive thunder strike, so I'm like, okay, that's literally right above me, and all my animals are on fire, pretty much. So I'm like, how on earth? I look up and there's nothing that's like gone, like the blocks aren't missing. So I'm like, how has this happened? And it's, Bedrock Edition. But it's like on fire. So like the panic sets in and you're like, because my house is made out of wool and wood. So it's like, so it could have all like completely burned down and my animals could have died. So that was fun. It was a really great experience.
I didn't realize that your house was made of wool.
Yeah. I don't know. At the time, I thought it was a good idea, but thunderstorms have different ideas, so
no,
is what it is.
I think I remember. I posted or I responded to that tweet that you put a picture up, if I remember correctly, and I made a comment and I put a link of my copper episode for lightning rods.
Yeah, there was a few people that were like, you should have used a lightning rod, and it's like, yeah, I should have, but I still, to this day, there is no lightning rod there. So I am just kind of waiting for it to burn down, and then I will probably, but I don't know.
Knock on wood, I've never had that happen, ever. I guess I've been lucky.
It has to be extremely rare. Like, it's never happened to me, ever. I can't recall. Like, of course, like, I've had it hit structures, but the one structure I care about, that I don't really want to remake,
Yeah.
It just gets battered. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, that's just the chance of it, huh?
Yeah, it is insane. I should have had lightning rods, but I didn't. I still don't. So
I put up lightning rods all over. I do pretty good about that.
I think I think lightning rods are like really underrated. I know I don't use them often, but I think they are really underrated for what they can do and their purpose. I think for what Mojang intended was really nice. Um, but because it's the whole like copper thing, a lot of people are kind of turned off by the idea of copper and
They
think
really
it's
are.
useless. Yeah, I disagree, especially with the latest update that's coming.
Yes.
Um, I think copper is more useful than lapis, gold, maybe
Really?
iron. Yeah, because I mean, for me, it's not. I'd say gold is more useful 9 times out of 10. But for the average player who doesn't make golden carrots or golden
Yes.
apples or trade with piglins, um, like I think copper's main use is its building style, and I think that people will be more inclined to use that now because you don't really build of gold. I mean, unless you're insane and rich.
No.
Um, but I think, and this isn't like a dig at the devs, but to be fair, copper has had its ups and downs since its release. We had like what was it, lightning rod,
hmm Whatever.
spyglass, which I mean, you had people being like, this is up to fine. I can't. I'm on bedrock. Um, and like the block, that was it for like the longest time. And
Yes.
you could say like, oh, they were like planning. They may be planning uses for it in the future, which I think they are doing. I think with Calcite, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Maybe not in the next update, but you'll see like them get a use or like more variants or something like that. They have to, surely.
Okay. Such as
Um,
with the calcite, you say?
yeah, I mean, like even if it's just like what they did with Tough, how they've made like Tough bricks and all that kind of stuff. I
Yes.
think Tough is really good now. Um, it's
I'm glad
still
that they
like
used. I'm glad they did
100%,
tough. I really am.
100%, because it was so by itself, it's so ugly and so like
It
not.
really.
I mean, it depends on the gradient you use, but to me, I haven't used. I don't like, off the top of my head. I haven't used it for like a core build.
Same.
It's just
It's more like
I don't know.
I'll use it for like rails, to lay rails upon.
Yeah,
Or because I build rails long distances, so I don't really care for the aesthetic value of what my rail is going to be laid upon. You know what I mean?
mm,
So I'll just use tough or what I have laying around, or you know, just for long distances.
yeah. That's the thing with like those type of blocks is that they're usually there for. Okay, well, if I've got some spare blocks, I'll use them for like nether pathways to like the structures or whatever.
hmm
Um, but I think they're going to be taken a little bit more seriously. I do think they still suffer with being really annoying to get, in my opinion. Um, and like if you most of the time they're in like iron veins, right? And like
Yes.
if you're looking at an iron vein, you're going to be like, what one am I realistically going to get more? The iron vein that's going to probably extend many blocks, or tough, you know. Um, so I think there's still a problem with that. I think you could fix it by making it a valid trade, like how you do with quartz pillars and glazed terracotta blocks. I think that could be a way you could fix it
That
because
would
right
be
now it's kind of a pain.
that would be a nice concept. I never thought about that. That's a
I
clever
think
idea.
so. I think so because it's not renewable. I don't think you can craft it from anything, right? You can't use like flint or like stone to craft it into something that you can with quartz and stuff like that.
No, I don't believe
Um,
in.
so it's like, yeah, I think if the more opportunities blocks get to be renewable, I think overall the better the game is, in my opinion.
I say I agree with you. Back to the copper real quick. For me, I'm really excited for the copper bulbs that are coming. I just I love how the light, the luminosity will diminish as it tarnishes,
Mm.
and I think it's going to be really neat to incorporate into builds. What's your opinion on the copper? And if you would like to get on with like, I know a lot of people want copper golems in the game. I would like to see
Yeah.
that. I really would. What do
Um,
you your opinion on all that?
I think they could have and maybe should have added the copper golem in this update. Um, I'm not going to sit here and like my overall rating and likeness for the update doesn't get affected because it's not added.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it's something they could have added, especially because this update is so copper themed, and I think it could have worked well with the copper bulb. Um, I really like the copper bulb. I like the lighting blocks, like the sea lanterns, the frog lights, and stuff like that. And
No, I agree with you. I love the copper bulbs. Michael, are you still there? I think I may have lost connection with you, Michael. Hi, Michael.
hello,
Hello. Hey, Michael.
hi. Do you want to just cut that bit out, or
Oh, I think maybe a connection or something may have cut out. I'm not sure what
yeah?
happened. I'm
I'm
sorry
using
about
my
that.
AirPods, so it is what it is.
Uh,
You
oh, okay. Gotcha.
can still hear me,
Gotcha.
right? Though I'm
Yeah,
good.
I can hear you just fine. I thought I'd lost you there for a second. I
No, no, I'm still
apologize
here.
for that. Okay.
Um, but on copper bulbs, I think there's something that's affected like redstone wise, isn't there? Like the ticking speed of it. I think.
I believe you're right. Um, Honestly, you would probably know more about that than I do. I don't ever play with in experimental mode, so I wait for it to actually come out. I don't know why. Is
Yeah,
it
I mean, I'm
something
the
I
same.
do you? Okay, so I just from what I've read and from what I understand, you need a blaze rod for the copper bolts as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's an expensive block to craft. It really
It
is.
is. It really is. And you know what? To be truthful, I have yet to find blaze rods in my nether. um,
Really.
yeah, and I probably need to explore the nether. I mean, I have connected and linked portals throughout the nether, and I feel like I've explored quite a bit, but I've yet to find blaze rods, which has really held back my kingdom, like technologically speaking. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is on Java, but I think on one of the two versions.
I'm on Bedrock. I
Oh, it's
shamefully,
great.
yeah, I love Bedrock. But I play on a Kindle for now because I haven't paid for the PlayStation subscription. So I've been on a Kindle, which is a little limiting.
Mm.
But still, I don't know why I haven't found blaze rods.
I think I think you just found the answer. On Bedrock, I believe it's Bedrock. It's one of the two versions. Nether Fortresses are, for whatever reason, very rare.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's one of the two versions and it's one of the two structures. One of them or both of them are for some reason really rare. Like you have to travel thousands and thousands of blocks.
Oh my god!
Um, I've never experienced something like this. Like I've had to travel a couple hundred, but nothing too major. I think,
Really?
yeah, it can get pretty bad, to be honest, is what I've heard.
I did. I thank you for telling me that because that relieves me a little bit because I feel like I've been all over the Nether and I haven't seen anything. I've encountered many hostiles like the piglins and
Mm,
zombified piglins and the gas, all those, and I
yeah,
haven't come upon any fortresses or it's just been a very barren. I mean, the Nether's barren anyways, but this has been particularly barren. And I'm just like, wow, I guess I need to just go further. And I just haven't really pushed the boundaries quite yet. I'll just start another portal somewhere else in my overworld and go
Mm,
into that section. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah. I mean, that's pretty tough as well for like the copper bulbs because you're gonna need a lot. I don't know the recipe off the top of my head, but it's at least one.
yes, and that's what kind of disappointed me when I saw the recipe. I was like, oh no, it needs blaze rods.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
I don't know either. I wish it was a little bit more accessible, the copper bulb, but I guess it'll make it more of a rare item.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it was maybe blaze powder, I don't know if that makes much sense.
That would
Like,
be nice because you could trade for that, right?
yeah, I think. No, wait. Can you? I don't think you can.
Uh, who drops it? This you can find it in loot or somewhere. I know I have blaze powder. I thought from somewhere I encountered it in my overworld. Maybe I'm making that up.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've only ever seen it from blazes.
Okay,
Um,
you're right.
witches don't drop it, I don't think.
I'm getting mixed up with glowstone dust. I think
Glowstone. Yeah,
I got mixed up with glowstone dust that I have. What do you
yeah,
think of the 1 point or the tricky trials? I guess I can call it by its name now. The tricky trials update, like the ominous events and trial chambers. I mean, the copper's really huge in the trial chambers and the tough variant blocks. Do you like what's going on with all that? It's very combat oriented.
yeah.
Uh,
It is. I used to originally hate the update. Like, and I don't typically hate updates. I've always said like I don't hate updates because they always add something. Even 1.19, which I don't like,
uh,
I
funny.
dislike the most, added something. And going into this, like when they'd done the whole announcement and showed it off, I was like, okay, uh, cool, I guess, because I don't know what. I mean, they showed the trial chambers, but they didn't really show much. They said
Mm,
there'd be more rooms, but we didn't know much of the time. I was honestly more excited about the wolves, like the wolf armor and armadillos
yeah,
that were coming.
same.
Um, and like that was pretty nice. But I remember I was just like, "Well, okay, I guess, because I was expecting, and this is probably the wrong thing to do, expecting it to be the end update.
Uh,
And I got optimistic because they were like, it's the combat adventures. So I'm like, okay, surely they'll add dual wielding, you know.
you
But
want to?
all in all, it's a very good update. You know, it's better than 1.20 and 1.19, but it's not better than the peak that we've had, in my opinion.
And what was the peak?
I think it was the Caves and Cliffs Part Two. You can combine Part One if you want to as well, but I think Part Two, especially changing the entire world. I
Hmm.
mean, like every world is different, so
Yeah,
it's just gonna like, and that I guess you could say, well, that was how it was like before. Yes, but not to like an extreme scale. You know, you wouldn't find extreme mountains unless you were on Amplified. You wouldn't find extreme mountains and extreme, just massive underground caves.
that's what I love about the game. I
Yeah,
can,
like it's just different for everyone. And they
yes.
really, they really took that into account. And they honestly, it was the most technical and demanding update. And they probably nailed it, in my opinion.
And
Um,
I was absent for that update. I took
mm,
like I believe, 11-year break after I was introduced to it, just, life. And then I got back into it about a year and a half ago. And I was astonished, like simply astonished, compared to 2013 Minecraft and
yeah, it's
coming back
different.
in. I was like, wow, this is insane what they did to this game. And like you said, I've been reading a lot since I started this podcast, and that Cave and Cliffs update seems to be like a huge one from what I've read because I wasn't around when that released, and they did a great job, like you said, with the landscapes. It's
Yeah,
so I can get lost exploring. I just explore a lot, honestly.
yeah, I do too. Like it's made whether or not you like Elytra, because I know it's controversial. Um, it's made Elytra travel so much more fun. Like you'll
Hmm.
just like fly through like valleys or like on top of hills, and it's just a lot more to see. And like of course you can take your time and sprint, walk, whatever, minecart. But with the Elytra, it's so much more intense and in a way rewarding, to be honest, because you actually feel like you're exploring proper terrain, and it's not this like weird, same kind of stuff you've just seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. My brother really got into the Elytra. He has a really updated system. Elytra, I tried it on my little Kindle. It's too slow to keep up with the rendering rate at that
Mm,
speed flying, and it was just a horrible experience for me. But for him, I can see that being just a blast. And that, yeah, the landscapes. I especially like how each seed is unique. I love that aspect about the game. I think that's one reason why I like Minecraft so much. Is it's like that's your world. You know,
yeah,
I really love that. I can just go on
yeah.
exploring all day. Like I said, I've only made it out 5,500 blocks from my point origin in a year and a half.
It's a lot of blocks to explore. Trust me.
Oh my gosh. How far out have you gone? Like just in basic survival.
Um, about 30K, something like that, in
Wow.
one direction. You have to be very careful on Bedrock because the megabytes, gigabytes fiasco can really mess up like that, or that whole kind of thing depends on how much you explore, which is a bad thing in a sense because why make a system where the more you explore, the bigger your world is, the more likely it is to corrupt, because that's
That
just how
makes
it is on Bedrock, unfortunately. Um, so it's like I try typically to not explore that much. I say that I've explored like tens of thousands of blocks, but I haven't gone to like 100K. I know what it's like to be at 100K. It's very trippy and very weird.
I
But
bet.
yeah, like it starts glitching out. You won't be able to move correctly, and it's
Oh
it's very
wow.
stuttery and very jarring, to be honest.
I would have
Um,
that.
but yeah,
So what's the longest that you've do you typically devote a lot of time to your worlds or do you switch seeds often? That was the question I
um, a lot of people do switch seats because they want to experience all the new stuff and not go like thousands of blocks away.
yeah.
The only thing that would make me swap worlds or jump into a new one is if the world I'm playing on corrupts, um, which has only happened twice. The world I have right now is like almost 2 years old,
Oh
and
wow.
I don't like swapping because I don't know. I lose that feel of like attachment. That you build up that entire. Let's say you switch every 6 months.
Hmm.
What is the point of kind of being attached and planning out your world, the story of the world, your builds, all this planning when you're eventually going to stop anyway and just like switch to a new world and do the same thing again, arguably. No.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, the longest world I've had has been about 5 years.
Wow.
Um, that got corrupted because of like complications with caves and cliffs, ironically enough.
Oh no.
But yeah, it was as much as it was a good update, it did break old worlds.
Uh,
Um, so yeah, I don't. I understand why. Like I know a lot of people are going to switch to new world. worlds to explore trial chambers, and that's fine. I just won't, to be honest.
I agree with you. I'm in the same boat with you. Honestly, I mean, they will exist in our worlds. It's just we have to go a little further to find them, right?
Yeah. And I am hoping they get fixed because in older worlds, they're like, I don't know if you saw this. This was like a few weeks ago. Trial chambers had like a massive, like literal wall of deep slate blocking like parts of it off.
I don't think I
So like,
saw.
yeah. So like, if you imagine like the fountain room, right? Like the
Yeah.
massive corridor, and you're heading towards the fountain room, completely blocked by deep slate on older worlds for
Oh,
whatever reason. I don't know what it is.
wow.
Um, I saw some people were like, "Yeah, but it's cool. You can mine through it, and Minecraft. That's in the name." No, if you had ancient cities and the portal actually done something, and it was split by a deep slate wall, you'd be livid. I'm sorry. Like people get upset about end portals being split and being glitched out by terrain. So
Uh-huh.
like I don't know if it's fixed. I haven't actually checked. I probably should because the update is coming very soon, I think.
I think so too. Everybody's calling June, which when this episode comes out, yeah,
Yeah.
my episodes are a month out, so this will be coming out on June 20th, Michael. So it
Oh,
may
really? Okay.
the update when people listen to us, they might already be playing it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we might
But
already know.
I'm speculating it's coming out in June. Everybody is.
Yeah, surely. I mean, it has to. Like at this point in time, as we're recording, we don't know, right? I don't think they've explicitly said. They
They have.
know. They know. Um, but surely during this, because again, we're coming to the end of the 15-year celebration.
Hmm.
Surely they've got something planned for that. It can't just be like, oh, here's a hat and a cape. Like,
I don't think so either because they've been hyping this up the whole time for months now.
yeah,
I mean, when did they start going on about the 1.21? I remember the Bog was released in last year, wasn't it? The end of last year? Or wait, no.
yeah.
No, it was Valentine's Day, sorry. They started
Oh, it was Valentine's Day. Yeah,
yeah, they started announcing stuff on I remember in 2023, I
yeah.
believe. So I mean, it just seems with all the videos they've been releasing and media, it just seems really hype. So I think they're going to say something by the end of this um 15-day, 15-year celebration.
They
No,
have to. I
I,
mean, if you look at Bedrock Edition, the update is done.
mm,
Um, and for that to be done is huge because I think they have to they have to finish Bedrock's updates first because obviously the certification process that Java doesn't have. Like we have
uh,
to go through like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, all those devices. So that takes longer, so they have to get it done first. So I'd imagine they're like in the process of being like, Sony, is it playable? And they'll be like, nah, bro, fix it.
uh,
Um, I think Java is like a week behind. And I say a week behind like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Um, because obviously most of the devs work on Java. So I think I think they'll be fine. I think next week, obviously we're recording this on a Saturday. Next Wednesday is the last day, I think.
I believe.
Snapshot day. It just makes sense, for them to be like, by the way, it's coming in June.
And it seems like they announce things in what around Thursdays. I've
Yeah.
noticed. So I have the same sentiments as you do. I'm
Mm.
excited to see what they say. I was excited to. I don't know. I haven't I haven't played around with the mace personally myself, but when they announced the mace and the hardcore and the breeze rods and the breeze, that was all very intriguing to me. What do you think about the mace? Do you like that weapon?
Um, Not particularly. Like, I don't think this was this intended purpose, but I'm not gonna swap it out for like a sword or an axe. I think it's a gimmick weapon. And what I mean is like it's something that you'll like pull out in really like weird situations. If you get what I'm saying? Like if you're on a
Yes.
high mountain and someone's below you, a very niche situation,
It,
you probably pull that out. But like if I'm like in a plains biome and it's level kind of ground or like only a few blocks, we're not talking tens or hundreds. I'm not gonna use a mace. I'm just not.
n- no, I agree with you fully. I think it, yeah, I agree with you fully. It is very niche and not very practical in most senses.
I think yeah, I mean I think it's different on both versions, and that is a huge problem in my opinion for the update. And you'll I think a lot of people will see that and be like, why is it so different? Because you've got on Java, you can dual wield, I've said it twice now, dual wield wind charges.
Wow.
And that on the surface doesn't sound bad, but the combos you can make are insane.
I,
Granted, you can do the same thing on Bedrock, but it's much slower because you can't dual wield wind charges.
and you are really pushing for dual wield. What day are you on? 70, wait, 70
So I've
something?
been asking for it for 73 days.
73 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, slowly losing my grip on sanity because we just need it. We just, especially, I think that is 1.21's biggest problem is that it hasn't addressed combat.
No, in combat, I'm going to say this. It's just horrible. It
It is.
it is. It's so clumsy.
It's just
I,
boring. Like I just like almost every single mob I know I can 100% kill, apart from like Enderman, maybe creepers sometimes. But
mhm.
skeletons, no problem. Zombies, no problem. Like because there's no delay. Granted, we got the recently in an update, zombies were able to set us on fire when they're on fire, which I've had for like years.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Um, but there's like no like challenge in like regular mobs, and maybe it's like, oh, the challenge is for the dragon and the wither. Well, the wither on Bedrock is a whole other story, but regular mobs are just pushovers. They just are.
I think I
Like
said
even
I didn't
yeah,
mean to cut you off.
no, no, go on.
I think I said in a previous episode that a lot of players just treat, for example, zombies as background anymore. Especially if you've been playing for a while. They aren't difficult.
No, like I'll just ignore them, and it's like it shouldn't be like that. And it doesn't. I don't want to spark debate on realism in Minecraft because it's a very controversial thing. Realism, like how far should you push realism in a block game? But I'm sorry, spam hitting with a sword that's like made out of some I don't even know what netherite is, like some valuable mineral should not be as easy as it is on Bedrock. It shouldn't be.
Do you think they need to make the zombies more what maybe their bites more lethal or
I just think they need to make the mobs in general smarter and less predictable.
I can agree with
Um,
that.
I mean, I'll give them props. They have, in the past, they were like, okay, zombies, skeletons, spiders are not going to walk straight into lava or straight off a cliff. They'll walk
Yeah.
around you and like pathfind, which is great. But at the same time, they're still getting one shot. They're still dying in seconds. Um, so like for spiders, why can't they like wall climb or like shoot webs?
That would be fun. that would
Like skeletons, why can't they like run out of arrows and just charge at you because they shouldn't have infinite arrows.
true.
And just like they give up, they run out of arrows, and they just either throw the bow at you or just run at you. Like just little
Throw my
like
arm at you.
yeah, like just little things like that to make the game to make combat less
No, I
basic.
agree with you. No, that would be fun, and I wonder would that affect farms? you know what I mean? Like auto farms, if they did something like that, made them to mess with the mob behaviors in such a way.
Probably, and this might be controversial, but I'd say do it. As
Yeah,
someone who has like mob farms, you know, like, and like I know the argument is, well, you shouldn't be punished for going through all the effort of making a mob farm because it is a lot of effort for anyone,
it
and I
is.
recognize that. But at the same time, mob farms are so broken. They're so broken. Um, automatic farms in general are very, very broken, and just little behaviors. I mean,
And what do you
maybe
mean by broken, if I may ask?
it's just like on Bedrock, you have these like a concept called a trident killer, where there's like four pistons, four observers in like a square because circles are banned in Minecraft, and there's a trident in the smaller square, and it pushes the trident around.
Huh.
So let's say you have I don't know, a skeleton farm. The skeletons will fall down next amount of blocks. Doesn't even have to be that many. You
Mhm.
activate the farm, and the trident will kill it.
Oh wow.
Now, on the surface, this isn't that bad. It's pretty good, pretty, not as broken, until you find out that the trident is affected by looting. So if you have your sword out with looting three, or even looting one, the trident is affected by that. So it's as if you're killing the mob when you're not. You're standing AFK, right?
Interesting.
Um, so that you'll get more drops than you realistically should. Now, I'm not advocating for this to be removed. I'm just saying that it's broken, and we shouldn't be around the bush and be like everything's fine. No, it's not. And I just think that mob behaviors, increased mob behavior, will be a lot better than just skeleton fall, skeleton die. That's it. Like, I don't
I
know.
no, I agree with you. No, I agree with you. I think it would be very interesting to see a little bit more intricacy with the mobs and their behavior in that manner. And I wasn't familiar with that type of farm. And yeah, I agree with you. That does sound a little bit broken. It sounds just a little, I don't even know the word for it, but it sounds to me that like if in the long run, if adding more intricacy to the mobs and making it more of a challenge, we can go ahead and adapt our farms. It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah, like you don't have to inherently like break every single farm, and I don't think it would. But like to make it slight adjustments, like with raid farms, we're gonna have to make slight adjustments
Yeah,
because of how they're changing in 1.21. Um, and they're not. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. I mean, I'm just gonna say how it is. I'm the raid farm right now. Um, the changes they're making are huge, but it doesn't break raid farms. They're still going to be around. They're just not going to be as powerful, which is good. It just
yeah.
is.
I don't even have a raid farm, so I guess I kind of lucked out on that. I did read about that, how it's going to affect them. People were upset in the Reddit community.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's arguably the one of the better mob farms, like as a whole, just because of how much it offers you, and the villager trade. Like if you set up like a little villager trading hall next to it, you get discounts for free, and all the brokenness that comes with villager trading combined with raid farms leads to just like insane rates. Like you're talking so many emeralds, totems, which don't even get me started on those. Um, it's just I don't see why we should. When Mojang proposed this kind of idea, we should hear them out on it and actually test it out rather than being like, "Well, game's done, that's it." Well, no, I think we should actually come up with solutions. All it takes is for you to be like, "Okay, I'll set up a system that dispenses ominous bottles at me, and I'll drink it, and I'll wait 30 seconds."
Yeah.
Like okay, the raid time isn't going to activate immediately, but who realistically, raise your hand, likes going into a village and a raid automatically started? You had no
Yeah.
time to prepare. Like, no one liked that. I'm sorry. No one did.
No, when I got back into Minecraft, the the raiders or the pillagers were a new thing, and I remember I killed them out of instinct because
Yeah,
they were shooting back at me, and I killed the guy with the banner, right? And
yeah,
all of a sudden, I hear these raiding horns going off. I'm like, what is happening? And the village I was in, just got ransacked,
yeah,
and I was like, what is that? And now I'm just tired of them. I still kill them on sight, but now I don't know. I've been in so many raid wars that I'm actually happy for the ominous bottle, so I can choose it. That's my own feeling, though. I know a lot of people are skeptical about all that. What
yeah.
what what's your feeling on that? The ominous events.
I think, and I've said this before, ominous events are definitely the future of Minecraft, or at least they should be. Um, I
Can
guess
you
the
elaborate?
future of Minecraft multiplayer, I guess.
Okay, for multiplayer.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so like you've got the I guess if you go into a structure and someone's already looted it, let's say for a rarer structure, looking at maybe I guess as an end city, someone loots your elytra. Okay, I'll travel to another one, 500 blocks. That one's gone too. Okay, I'll find another one, 1,000 blocks because they're rare. That one's looted as well. Like if you've got a big server or even like a server with like two other people, chances are every like chest is gone in
I
some
get that.
in some way. Like, and you're left with like bare bones, like say mob spawners, you're left with like string or rotten flesh when there would have been an enchanted golden apple. Um, or like a village when there would have been diamonds, but you've just got apples and saplings.
True.
Um, Omnis events allow you to be able to get items continuously. Like you're guaranteed, everyone is guaranteed to get um the heavy core and stuff like that. Obviously, there's rarity and stuff like that, but
So it
yeah, you're
levels the playing field essentially.
yeah, like you don't have to worry about is this trial chamber looted because in like deep down, yes, it is because obviously the pots are gone and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
the vaults, the chests, which they would have been, aren't. So
That's a good point you make. Uh, I, I do enjoy that aspect too. I think that's going to be great for everybody. I myself haven't really played too much multiplayer. Just
no, I don't.
yeah, but the feedback that I've seen online, a lot of people do appreciate that. I can see how that's very practical.
Yeah, and I think it is the future because I think it is gonna, in some way, make it to end cities. Like they're gonna have to implement, and they've said, I think they've said it before. They've said like they would. It's like I'm paraphrasing, but it's something that they would like it to be in other structures. But as of right now, they're just focusing on trial chambers, which makes sense. Obviously, they wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, I'll put down trial chambers, but we're gonna make it so they're in wooden mansions." It makes no sense for them to
No, yeah,
add it to other structures now. But I think they will, and they have to, um, because multiplayer will just be a lot more fun to play. Like exploring will be a lot more rewarding because right, like some chests, like the chests will be looted, but the vaults, the actual where the items are going to be, whether it be an elytra, totem, heavy core, like a pottery shard, whatever it is, you will be able to get it.
I you raise a great point. I never thought about that being the future of Minecraft. I what do you Another thing about the trial chambers I did like about for multiplayer people is um the challenge, the aspect to the trial spawner. How the
Yeah,
more people are there, the more hostile mobs will generate or spawn out. I thought that was
yeah,
I thought that was clever.
yeah. And I mean, it adds up because let's say you have like a server of even like 4 people. I don't know the rates, but and you do an ominous spawner, and they spawned with armor. The armor is like protection 4,
Yes, I saw
and
that.
like the obviously the weapons aren't as strong. They're like sharpness 1 or something, but the armor is pretty tough. And if you got like 4 people, multiply that by 4, that's a lot of skeletons or bogged. Imagine like lots
Yes,
of bogs with armor, poisonous arrow. Like it's gonna be chaos, but good chaos. Like
I
it's gonna be
I
good.
think so.
I think.
I, I think so too. And you can bring your wolves in there now with armor. I never took my wolf with me. I think I
No.
said in a podcast I had my wolf at my main house for over a year in sit mode. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not taking you with me because I'm going to accidentally hit you and kill you because you get in my way. And
Yeah.
or you're just going to die pretty fast, out in this wilderness. It doesn't take now they're what? They're as tough as iron golems? Is that wait, am I thinking that correct? With the armor? Um
I'm not sure. The armor itself is what is strong though. You're right. Although
yes.
wolves did get a massive health buff, when you hit a
Yeah.
wolf, it's the armor that takes damage.
Yes.
It's not the wolf itself. So I think it could be something like, and it's got the crack system as well. So I don't know if it cracks similar to the Iron Golem, where it's like some mana hits crack.
I,
Like I think the Iron Golem cracks 3 times before it dies.
I I believe you're right.
Um,
I should know that.
yeah, I should as well, to be honest. Um, but you're right in saying that you can actually take wolves there. Um, like
And
it's
that
just
would
going to
help
go. It's going to help. Yeah,
and
100%.
that improves combat because weren't the wolves introduced to be to increase combat? Am I correct in that? Yeah, I thought they were put into the game. I'm sure for multiple purposes, just
Mm.
to have as a pet as well. But I thought they were uh, for combat.
Yeah,
I
I
did,
mean, look, I mean, like they're wolves, right? They're not dogs, you know.
no,
And like wild wolves will go after like sheep,
yeah.
foxes, skeletons.
Even humans back in the day.
Yeah. Um, so like it makes sense for them to be able to like I don't expect them to protect me, but like in those situations where like I don't know, let's say you've got full iron armor, a golden apple, or like half a heart, you need to eat. The wolf steps in and kills the skeleton for you. It's those
Yeah,
situations where the wolf should be very good, but isn't or wasn't until now. Now I can go like as long as it doesn't fall into lava because the armor doesn't protect against. I don't think it does protect against lava, drowning,
I
or
don't
magic.
think I don't believe so either.
Um, Obviously, the trial chambers, you don't have creepers in there. I don't think witches spawn in there. So it's
Ah,
just like skeletons and zombies and those variants, spiders,
and
stuff like that.
the bogged, the variants, like you said.
Yeah.
What
So
do you what do you think about the bogged?
I think it's cool. I don't really care for it that much, I'll be honest. I think it's cool though. Like I'm always all for I mean people are like, really another variant, like why can't you add something new? And it's like, I mean, breeze. Like, come on, that's something new. It's like, no,
Yeah,
it's a reskin of Blaze. It's like, no, they're not. They're not like, yeah, okay, you could argue very lightly that they're just reskinned mobs, but there's still elements to them that are different to what they originally were based off. Like, um, husks aren't
hmm
regular zombies.
no,
They'll give you hunger. Bogged aren't regular skeletons. They'll shoot you with poison, and their like shooting rate is a lot slower
yes, 3.5
than
inches.
yeah. The health is a lot slower or shorter as well. So they're different. Like, okay, they used a model for it, but it's not the same thing as a skeleton. It's different in name, in design, because it's got mushrooms and it's green. I like, I'll say that. I do like the design of it.
I
I think
love
the
the
design of
design
it's
of
really
it.
good.
I talked about that quite a bit in my bogged episode. I thought they did a great job designing him with the I don't even know what you would call that, like the bog debris for a tonic. It
Mm.
just in the mushrooms growing off the head was. I'm glad they updated that and added that to it. I think wasn't that from like community feedback? They added those mushrooms to its head.
I think so, because originally people were like iffy with its
They were
original
very
design.
iffy. I don't think the
Um,
bog has got much credit at all. I like that it's being added to that biome, those biomes, the mangrove and the
oh
swamps.
yeah,
I
yeah,
honestly think it'll. I I hate the drowned. I'll say this, but I don't think the bogged will be as bad as the drowned. You know what I mean? Because of that cool down between shots and in its health not being as strong.
yeah, yeah. I don't like the drowned as well. I think the bogged had to have some caveats. If they wanted to have a poison skeleton, it couldn't shoot as frequently as it does with a normal skeleton. Um, like on Bedrock, I think it's on Bedrock and not Java. It's one of the two.
Mm.
The closer you get to a skeleton, the quicker it shoots.
I I
Um,
think that's bedrock, maybe.
yeah. Imagine that with a bogged. Like you'll just infinite poison. Like it's just not fun. And bogged bows still also can be enchantable, like regular skeleton bows. So a punch poison bow, you're not getting anywhere, and you're just gonna die. So
Yeah, I I think it'll drop you down to a half a heart, like kind of like
yeah,
a potion. It'll rapidly decrease your hearts.
yeah,
Well,
and
not
like
rapid, but pretty fast.
yeah, and for the average player that's just walking through mangrove, like first night mangrove swamp, can't wait to get my red wood, and then
And
the
those
bog
are
shows up out of nowhere, you're just dead. Like
those are kind of dangerous places to navigate.
I hate mangrove swamps. They're so ugly. It's just
They did a good job though. It feels so spooky. I love how you find witch huts in those swamps, and I think they did a great job with the atmosphere
oh
of it.
yeah, I mean I'll give them that. Like the research they've done into like the mangrove trees was really good. You can tell and you'd expect them to, but they've properly researched mangroves and the proper cures. Mud, I think, is a really underrated block.
Yes,
I love mud
me
bricks
too.
especially.
I haven't done mud bricks. I have not done
Oh, they're
that
so
yet.
good. They're
You,
so
you,
so
you
good.
like those, huh?
Yeah.
What what type of builds do you use those for? Just anything? Just
I
incorporate
mean,
that.
I've built like a little like farmhouse recently, and
Oh,
I'm not
not.
talking like a massive farm, like just like little farmhouses for like horses, animals, and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
mud bricks combined with mangrove wood, in my opinion, work really well together because they're
Nice.
just two very bright colors. And plus, when you first place, I think it's just mud bricks. It could be the whole mud block set. But when you place down mud bricks, the sound is so satisfying.
Yes, I love that kind of squishy noise or
Yeah, like
whatever.
it's just a really good block.
And
So
you can make clay farms, or I
yeah,
do, semi-automatic. Well, not semi. Mine are pretty manual, but with the dripstone and everything,
mm,
I have a couple of those in my realm where I produce clay and then my terracotta blocks and everything.
yeah, I think it's a
But
really good block. So I
no,
mean,
I
it's
do
the
too.
only reason why I'd go to a mango swamp because I can't stand chopping down the trees.
Oh, those
But
are a pain to find the wood.
yeah, like let's say you've traveled because they're a rare biome, right? I'm pretty sure they're like notoriously rare.
I think I
It's
read that, but my world is full of them.
yeah. I didn't have to travel far from mine either. And it's like, let's say hypothetically they are super rare. You travel like so many blocks to get to them, and there's like the trees have like 4 logs, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll get the wood then, I guess. And it'll obviously you're like, okay, can't wait for it to decay. The roots
Yeah.
don't decay, so you're just sat there like, oh, okay. And then you'll be like, okay, I'll get saplings, but you don't realize that one is the propagules on the leaves, and two is the fully grown ones. It's not like the smaller ones. And it's like, if you've just been to one, they're not all going to be fully grown. It's not like when you
No.
walk into a village and all the crops are fully grown.
Yeah.
The propagules are like starting to grow because obviously you've just registered them in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. It's it's a totally different digital organism altogether.
mm, yeah.
I how do you this is a question I kind of want to ask you for kind of newer players. How do you go about surviving your first day in a new seed? Like, what would how do you go about you know building
Mm.
your fort or hut or whatever?
I
What
think
do you do?
I think you have to take in the minute you spawn. You have to take in your surroundings. It's so important to be like, okay, what biome am I in, and then what biomes are around me.
Hmm.
So like, if you locked in that you're like, okay, right, I'm in the plains biome. How big is it? Am I going to be able to find a village? If not, I need to get free wool very quickly. Um, or just build a little one by one hole, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
But villages, even with the trade and nerfs, are still always going to be your best friend when you start a world. They always will be because of just what they provide.
Hmm.
Food, a house, crafting tables, furnaces, blast furnaces in some cases. Like, I think it's really important to be able to be like, to know where you're at. Not even like, you don't need to plan straight away where you're going to build your like massive diamond block mansion. Just to be able to know where you're at, get your bearings, and be like, okay, I can set up a little thing here, or there's already something set up here. I can take use of that. Because you don't want to be like stuck in like, let's say, a snow biome where there's nothing. Crops can't grow because it's snowy. Animals can't be there because there's no grass. Um, Snow is also a very harsh weather type to navigate in. Um, so you want to get out there. Obviously, there are villages there, but again, you're limited on food and crops and stuff like that.
It's a tough
So you just
biome.
need, yeah. It all. Long story short, it all depends on biomes. Like, you don't want to spawn in a massive ocean. You just don't.
What's the worst seed you spawned into, or your origin?
Um, I think I've spawned once in a lava cave. I just died immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wait, you spawned in a cave? I didn't know. I never thought about that.
Yeah, like so. I wouldn't say like a. I think how it works is they don't. The game tries to. If there's a cave near you, it can spawn you there. If it's like um accessible to the sky, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I see.
like the respawn radius is like a few blocks, right? So every time you die, you'll spawn either in the same block or like near it or whatever. And if
Hmm.
there's lava right next to you, let's say like 2 times out of five, you could spawn in that. And unfortunately, and knowing my luck, of course, I spawn in lava and die. And it's like, well, great. And then I'm just fine. I'll spawn above ground and I'll be fine.
Oh
But,
wow.
or like, you'll spawn underwater. And I mean, like, properly underwater, and you'll just drown before you get to the surface.
I did not realize that was a thing. Wait, so you can spawn underwater as well.
Yeah.
Wow. I
I'm
didn't
pretty
know
sure
that.
you can.
That's
Like you'll spawn in and it'll be like, because obviously I think the game recognizes you're already in the world before you spawn in. So when it tells you building terrain, at that point you're kind of already in the world. So as that's going on, you're basically sinking to the ground.
and it's being constructed around you.
Yeah. So it's like your fate is already pretty much set. And I haven't had any crazy spawns. Like I've not spawned in like ancient cities where like a
Me
warden
neither.
spawn on my face. I haven't had that yet. Um, Again, no, my luck probably next world I make, I will spawn in one. Or I bet you'll probably hear like examples of people spawning in like trial chambers, which I think would be really fun.
Uh,
Um,
wow, yeah, I think that would be really fun as well. You're kind of, well, that's interesting. That
yeah,
could be really horrible for like if you're a new player, that could be quite dangerous, right?
yeah. But I
Uh,
mean, if you know what you're doing, because you've got unless you spawn like some spawner rooms, I think have like, or the entrance rooms have like cactus or something
okay,
like that. A lot of them though will have like wood, so that's basic wood tools already. You've got deep slate around you, so stone.
true.
Um, Mine the pots, you've got iron or even a diamond block. Food is like a cake, and there's like glow berries, which isn't ideal, but it is
True.
what it is.
You got a little.
Um, yeah, so it could be a really fun challenge that 1.21 presents. There's going to be someone that's like stuck in a trial spawner, and they will have the seed. I guarantee it.
Yeah, people are releasing seeds all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeds, have you ever played those super flat Earth or overworlds seeds or
Um, I used to on console edition when they had like custom world types for super flat.
okay?
Um, I think they're honestly too difficult. Like it's way too hard to be able to like.
It
It's
sounds wild.
possible, but yeah,
When I
as you say,
was
it is wild.
when I was doing the Wandering Trader episode research, I was talking with people and they said the Wandering Trader was the only reason they could get like survive in those worlds. I was like, wow. I've never played them myself. I just felt like asking you because
Hmm.
you you seem like you would have played something like that. That does seem really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the Wandering Trader's like biggest fan, but especially in 1.21. In 1.21, I think you're able to like sell stuff to it. Um, like I can't remember what like it accepts, but it's like basic items. It also gives you wood, like 8 logs. Um, and like combine that with like cherry saplings or like I think it gives you crops. I think it gives you like melon seeds and stuff like that.
I
Um,
oh
I
and
it should give you more. I still think
and
it's pretty
in water,
trash,
I
but
think like a bucket of fish. I think you can use the water from that, right?
yeah, like you get a bucket as well. When otherwise you wouldn't in super flat because obviously there's no iron. So there
Yeah,
there
that would be.
definitely are. Yeah,
So, what are you working on right now in your world? You say you've been in this world for 2 years,
almost. Yeah,
almost 2 years, and I've been seeing your Twitter. You got a tower going on. I think
yeah.
I,
So like I'm building currently like a Gothic style village.
it looks
Um,
really amazing. I'm looking at right now the picture.
yeah, it's definitely like one of my more ambitious kind of villages because I like what villages do in Minecraft worlds. I like the storytelling and like world building they can do. Um, some people have created some amazing stuff with villages.
Oh my
Um,
gosh! Somebody made a computer
yeah, like it's
to
it's
play
crazy.
Minecraft in Minecraft.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
I've seen that. Yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
I'll never get to that level, so for now I'll stick to my little villages.
No, I love
Um,
Village. You put a lot of. Like I said, I'm looking at the image right now, specifically of this tower. you have a couple photos here, and it looks great. Like with the purple rows, and I'm trying to make. What is that? Copper? A lot of copper, and or what are those blocks that you're incorporating here?
So a lot of it is deep slate because I don't really typically build out of deep slate, but deep slate is a really nice block.
I love deep slate.
Yeah,
Most of my world is deep slate.
it's really nice. And then like the second block that's mostly used is like the nether woods and the
Oh,
stripped. So like the stripped, warped, which is the blue one I think, and then
yeah.
stripped crimson, and I'm alternating between. So there's like two blue structures, two red at the moment. Um, yeah, I think that kind of palette works really well together.
No, I think it looks beautiful, and you have a little bit amethyst block in there. I see.
Yeah,
And I need to use scaffolding more often. I have a little bit, but I never use scaffolding.
it's so good. I love scaffolding. Um, and it's crazy to think about. We probably wouldn't have got it if the China player base didn't vote for pandas because that's how it
It,
all came about.
that makes sense. That
Um,
makes sense.
because it was like they were given a choice. This was like I think the update before Village and Pillage. They were like, right, here's some mobs. This was exclusively to China because they were doing something in China. Here's a few mobs. There was like a monkey and stuff like that. Obviously, China chose pandas because they love pandas over there. And with
Yes,
that, we got bamboo, scaffolding. Scaffolding, in my opinion, is so underrated. Such a nice block to use and navigate around builds and stuff like that.
I won't lie. I forget all about it, and I forget all about bamboo, and I even have a bamboo auto farm, and I don't use it.
Really.
Yeah, I just built it to build it.
Mm.
And I I've been thinking lately because I like to build things up high. I really do, and I don't know why I just stick with stacking blocks and using an old ladder system. I
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? So many people are so used to like building like dirt pillars and like little dirt staircases and stuff like that, or
yeah,
any block, you know. But scaffolding is so much more like convenient because obviously you mine one block, it all comes down. Um, it's just like the crafting recipe for scaffolding is a bit weird,
it is.
but it's still, in my opinion, even with the new bamboo wood, it still is bamboo's best crafting recipe, in my opinion.
It,
Um, yeah,
no, I agree with you. Uh, something a little bit beyond bamboo, more towards the sky of Minecraft. I know that I've seen you tweet something about wanting to see a little bit more variety to the Minecraft skies. I think I commented on that. Like, I'd like to see birds even flying. You know,
yes, yeah,
is that something that you'd like to see as well?
100%. Like, we all talk about like ambience in Minecraft and like, those iconics, like the iconic C418 tracks and, the
Yes.
sounds, like, pigs, cows, and how they add so much. Imagine
Hmm.
you load up into like a forest biome and the first thing you hear is birds chirping. Like,
Yes.
it will just add, I'm not asking for these birds to have like, because I know there's a big debate, like every mob should have a big use.
Hmm.
These birds don't have to have massive uses. I can think of some off the top of my head, but they don't need to have massive uses in order to be in the game.
Well, the
Just
bath
to,
stuff.
yeah, like I'm not bats. I don't love the bats, but they add so much to the caves, in my opinion.
Exactly. No, I like the atmosphere that they bring.
Yeah. Um. Like, could they do more? Yes. Should they? Not that. Like, I
Yes.
wouldn't. I wouldn't like. In my opinion, yes, as well. But I'm not gonna, you know, get upset about it if they don't. Like, I'm fine with them just remodeling the texture for now. That's all they want to do with it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But the skies are so empty, and then beyond the phantoms that I think are useless, except for what you need them to repair elytra wings, right? The
Yeah,
phantom
and the
brains.
slow falling potions. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So I guess they have a couple uses, but I think maybe they could have made like a zombie membrane or something. I don't know.
mm.
Just did away with. What do you think about the phantoms? I know that's kind of debated. I think they're hated by a lot of people.
Yeah. So I actually voted for them.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I don't regret it. No regrets. I'm not going to apologize either.
No, I'm not
Um,
asking you to. I'm just
yeah,
curious. I want to hear your why.
like it's kind of what you mentioned. I wanted more stuff in the sky, and I think originally we weren't told that phantoms would disturb like your sleep or like be affected by your sleep. So
Mhm.
at that time, I was like, cool, a bigger bat. I didn't know at the time that they'd constantly be on you if you didn't sleep for 3 days. Because that's when I think it starts. I think after 3 days, it then goes up to 1 to 2 to 3. Then God knows how many phantoms. Um,
I
I
didn't
think,
that. I never realized that.
yeah.
That's
Um,
interesting.
I think that the membrane should be used for something else. What it should be used for, I don't know. But no one really repairs their elytra like that, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't really seen many people being like, you know what? Instead of mending, I'm going to use the membrane that I can rarely get because they're not
Mhm.
really that consistent drop rate wise. You don't really get that many of them that many times.
No.
Um, so what they should do, in my opinion, is get rid of the whole mechanic of they'll prey on you until you sleep and just move them to the end. In my opinion,
Move up
um,
a whole different dimension.
yeah, and just like I think what you do is you create like swarms, which is a new thing where they'll just like they're like vultures, but in the end,
That
they
would
will
be
just
interesting.
swoop down and attack you.
No, I like that concept. I actually like the vulture concept as well. I think that
Yeah,
that now that just off the top of my head, you saying that, I think that would be amazing in the Badlands or deserts.
yeah,
Badlands, I think, would be appropriate. But no, that's interesting. I no, I wasn't saying. I guess that was just me being a pessimist or like just being annoyed with being attacked by phantoms every time that
yeah,
um
yeah. Of course.
my rails at night because my rail's like 14 minutes, the longest one, and so like I'll be traversing through the night, and I mean, beyond my sword, yeah, I'll have 4 or 5 of I think 4 I've seen at least I can recall attacking me, and I've been killed by them.
Yeah,
Especially being caught off guard and them swooping in one after another. But I have to say this, I have defended the creeper so many times because I like that I can still get killed after playing this game since I've been playing it, getting back on it after a year and a half consistently. I like that a creeper can just sneak up and blow me up still and kill me. And that because that poses a challenge. Otherwise, I think I'd get kind of bored if I didn't have those sneak attacks. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I remember I tweeted about creepers a while back, and a lot of people were annoyed and were like, "You don't like creepers?" I was like, "No, I didn't say I didn't like creepers. I think creepers are okay, but you can't sit there and say to me that if they were added today, people would be okay with them
But you did. I
because
remember that tweet now.
their concept is to blow things up. And if you don't like phantoms, you would not like creepers.
Oh,
And
you would hate.
maybe, yeah, like you wouldn't they would never come to the game now because they were made from a bug. in
Yeah.
the coding. But let's say they were always a concept and they were like 1.22, the overworld update, we're gonna add all these mobs. One of them is called the Creeper. It blows up your world. No one in their right mind would be like, yes, this is what I've been wanting for the past 16 years.
No,
Like,
they would quit playing the game.
yeah, creepers are only okay because they were added since the very beginning. That's just my opinion.
No,
I don't
agreed.
hate them. I don't like them. They're annoying. That objectively, they're just annoying, and you
What
can't
what is
say
your
anything
most
against that.
what's your most favorite hostile mob? That's a weird question.
Um, Guardians.
The Guardians.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I hardly ever think about those. Explain. I'm curious.
Well, I like the design. I like the sound. I don't know why. I really like the sound of the Guardians, and I feel like, especially with like Copper's introduction, they remind me a lot of Copper. So like, I think because they've got like not the Elder Guardians, but the mini Guardians have like copper copper looking like spikes or
Mm-hmm.
tips.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could do something where they could incorporate ominous trials for the Guardian and have like a massive copper prismarine comboed um, structure. Yes, you'd be using copper again, but it's not really a bad thing.
No.
Um, and I think it'd work really well. I think Guardian Farms, I've criticized them a lot today, but these Guardian Farms are really good because it's a food source, it's a light source because you can make sea lanterns, and Prismarine is a really nice block.
It's beautiful.
Um, yeah, it's one of the only blocks that has like animations.
Yes.
Um, I don't know, like there's something about them that I really like. They're not like as mundane, in my opinion, as skeletons and zombies are that you'd expect from like if you look at other survival games, the Guardian's like the outlier. It'd be like something you wouldn't expect in a game. Um,
Oh, it's
you know,
totally different.
yeah,
It looks technologically advanced.
yeah, it does. It looks weird.
What
It looks
like
very weird.
what I don't know if you're really big in the theory side of things when it comes to Minecraft. I kind of am,
Mm.
but this thing looks alien. It looks out of place.
I think uh, the Warden and the Guardians were both in the world before players or villagers, anything like
Re-
that.
really?
Yeah,
Would you like to elaborate on that?
I think they were more frequent. I think they were the more dominant predator of the oceans because right now you've got drowned and they're kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you had the Wardens underground always. I think you had uh, sniffers above ground, but we're talking like bigger sniffers because if you look at the fossils, they look oddly like sniffers. Like they
Yes,
resemble the kind of body shape, and they're massive. Sniffers are quite, yes, they're big, but they're not that huge compared to a fossil.
true. True.
Um, so I think you had bigger sniffers in the world once. Obviously, they died out. Um, Guardians were in the world for a very, very long time, and for some reason, which should be expanded upon, were now restricted to monuments and are no longer the biggest threat in the ocean. Now, I don't believe for a second drowned will always remain the biggest threat in the ocean. There has to be something else in the ocean that drowned doesn't like, and the Guardians especially don't like, in my
That
opinion.
that we have yet to be introduced to.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you don't even have to do a basic like Kraken thing. You could do something otherworldly, like a Guardian, just
Mm,
something else that is on top of the food chain. Because I don't believe that a water zombie is the strongest thing in the ocean. I just
no,
don't.
You raised some good points, some things that I have yet to even think about. That's interesting. That I think that would be pretty cool if they put something a little bit more of a boss in the ocean, or more like you said, top of the food chain.
Mm,
I'm surprised we don't
yeah,
have sharks, honestly, or something
Y-
like that.
yeah. We honestly should, because I mean in the Nether we know that there's a big white thing that spits fire at you that we shouldn't probably interact with.
Yeah.
Underground, there's something that will literally destroy you in one hit. So we know not to mess with the underground. The
Hmm.
end, obviously, is a massive dragon. Sure, only one of its kind, but it's still a dragon. Oceans, water zombie.
And they're numerous. I'll give them that.
Like, and if we're sticking to, again, we can go back and forth on the whole realism argument. Oceans in the real world are terrifying.
Yes. Yes,
Like,
they are. We haven't even explored what, 10% of it, maybe?
yeah, yeah, like it's insane. And again, also with the oceans in the real world, not every fish is friendly.
No.
Like, we need something like piranhas or something like that, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that too. Bring a little bit more diversity to that. I do love the coral reefs,
Oh,
and
they're beautiful.
yeah, I was so stunned when I was exploring my world, which I've been in for a year and a half, and I was like, "Wow, they put coral reefs in this game. This is amazing. They look stunning." It
Yeah, I
just
mean the jump from like we had like gravel floor oceans, and then suddenly massive coral. Like they're massive. Some of them, like
my, mine really is. I call it the Great Coral Reef from Australia. It's what I
yeah.
mine. It's huge.
I mean my one's like thousands and thousands of blocks, which adds up to a lot. That's a lot of the ocean. That's just coral. Um, and again, they don't. They just sit there, but it just adds so much to the oceans.
It does.
Um,
And the sea
and I
pickle
think Guardians do as well.
and the Guardians do. And this I haven't um I haven't gone into an underwater temple yet. I've been
Mm.
cursed many times by the Guardians, sailing over them, but I've yet to go down there and do any exploring. I've That's a biome I really need to do some more investigation into, is the oceans. I just use them to traverse across and explore most of the time. I haven't really gone underwater.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in oceans, but there's also so much more. I feel like they could definitely revisit the oceans soon again.
What do you think we'll see in the future of Minecraft beyond 1.21 update?
Um, I think 1.22 is the end update. I think.
Yeah, you got a good feeling.
Um, yeah. 1.23 is going to be like 1.23 is where I'm a bit like hazy on, because it could be the inventory update where they finally just fix it. Um, like fix the inventory issues.
And what do
Could
you
be the
mean by
combat update. Um, again, I don't know. Or it could be like a catch up update where they're like, screw it, every mob vote loser is coming into the game.
that?
Um,
Would be interesting.
yeah, I think they should do that 100%. Um, and then I think they're going to wait a few updates for the deep dark dimension, wherever the dimension is.
What is this
Um,
deep dark? That's something I just heard about somewhat recently.
it's basically the very, 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 very depths of the underground.
Okay,
Um, it's like you talk about Guardians being aliens. This is like alien,
really?
completely alien. Yeah. Um, I mean, I view. Skulk is like a virus, the way it spreads and infects blocks and is basically dead mobs.
Oh wow.
Um, I've always viewed it as like a virus, and it's corrupted the portal or the city or the warden. I think the warden was an iron golem at one point,
Interesting.
um, because they're not the same model, but they're very similar. Um, they sound when they attack. There's something about them that sounds similar. The way they attack as well, when they like hit things up. Obviously, the warden can't scream at you and do like a long range attack, or the iron golem can't, but the warden can.
Interesting.
Um, they both have their like differences. Like one can be easily killed, one can't. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the iron golem was infected and buffed to an extreme level and just killed everything.
Or
Um,
maybe the act of the mysticism of creating the Iron Golem went awry, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. I learned a
100%.
great
Yeah,
deal on golems, and when I was doing research for that episode, the Iron Golem, and no, it's interesting how real world golems in the Sefer Yetzirah book of creating golems use a lot of incantations and amulets. So I don't know. You might be onto something with that theory of the warden being an iron golem.
I
That's
think we have to assume that whoever made iron golems originally messed up a few times,
you would think so.
or like thought, okay, this is cool, but we can go further than this. Like,
And
surely, because they did not perfect the iron golems and snow golems straight away. There's no way.
no, and you saying that makes me think because a lot of time in film and literature, when it comes to golems, many of the time they will go berserk against their master or the community that they're in. They get frustrated or something, or they take their commands way too literal, is a big
Yeah,
thing with golems. So I can see your point. That's a very interesting theory that I would have never thought of. I like that.
yeah. I mean, iron golems are so like, why are they so passive? Why do they not attack creepers?
The,
Why
my whole
do they have,
my whole
what's
I
the deal with
have
roses?
theories on that.
Really? Okay.
Oh, I do. I in my Iron Golem episode, I was in my very first episode of Realm News, the creepers or the cleric's cloak, because okay, just to sum it up, I kind of I do I believe that the clerics have some form of religion that orients around the creeper, hence why it's sewn onto their cloaks, and
Mm,
I believe that the Iron Golem, since villagers can resurrect these somehow. We obviously don't know how they go about that type of mysticism of resurrecting or making an iron golem, but they can do that. And they don't attack creepers. And I believe that's because of the religion or their reverence to the creeper. That's just my theory. I go into a lot more detail about that in my episodes, and but
So
I don't.
do you think the villagers or the specifically the golems think creepers are a threat? Do you think they know what they're capable of?
I think they either admire their explosive force or I think that see my timeline. This is something that I've thought of. Is I think many people, especially I mean, obviously in the Minecraft community, believe of ancient builders and a collapse of an old society, an ancient society. I believe after that collapse, there was villagers or this race of humanoid people, right? Whatever you want to
Yeah,
call them, came about. Maybe they were around when these ancient builders were around, but they just survived whatever this highly debated zombie apocalyptic event. You know, they survived and they were around after the ashes of it all. and they just formed their own villages that we know today. But they obviously came across these ruins, these desert temples with all these sandstone carvings with this very familiar organism in the overworld. And I think they associated the two together. And I think they may have formed some sacred religious bond to it. And and I think that's what the cleric represents, is that religion. Just the title of the cleric, him being a cleric, is has religious connotations to that. And with that
Mm.
very apparent creeper face on that royal purple, that purple is significant in color, just it being purple, being
Yeah.
royalty. I believe that there's something to that. And I also believe that might be the reason why the iron golem that they summon does not attack the creeper. But that's just my thought, my own personal theory that I'm sticking to. And I also incorporate the wandering traveler in that a little bit as well in the latest episode that I put out.
So I have another thought as well about the villages and golems and creepers.
I'd like to
If
hear it.
there's if they're so like intrigued, let's say, about creepers, and they're not really that aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
why do they have cats?
True.
Because the cats scare them away,
Yes.
and they can't bring in creepers to the village because the cats see something that the villagers don't.
True. True.
So I wonder what the cats, because I don't think the cats are like green thing go boom. There's something else there um, that the cats don't like about creepers that the villagers are like oblivious to.
Do you have an idea or a theory on that?
I have no idea. Um,
Do you think that's always intrigued me myself. I've tried to formulate theories of why that between the cat and creeper's relationship. I don't have one myself. Maybe the villagers understand that the thing they worship is very deadly, and maybe that's why they keep the cats around, is the only thing I can think of. But I don't that doesn't answer why they're scared of them, the creeper.
mm,
That's a good question. I also ponder, why can't these villagers build walls, because they can be infected by zombies. I don't understand why they don't make walls.
and I'm very curious about the whole igloo situation. When they discovered you can cure villagers,
Yes,
why,
with golden apple.
why, why is it that every single village hasn't incorporated that into the village? And that could be for a few reasons, right?
Maybe news is slow to travel, but see, that's why I believe that the wandering traveler is also the only connection between villages, and I think the only person that would be able to deliver news. If I know that's going far fetched, but there's map makers in these villages and whatnot. These villagers have knowledge of each other, I believe. I don't
Yeah,
know what I don't I don't know what's going on. I In the future for Minecraft, I would like to see them develop more game mechanics with the villagers, maybe make them a little bit more intelligent. I know that would probably be really hard to do software wise and the technicalities behind that, but I think that'd be fun to give them a little bit more, what's the word, sovereignty, I guess, to themselves.
yeah, definitely.
I don't know what you think about that. I'd just like to see something a little bit more new. I know that they did a little update last year with the librarians, I believe, right? I
Mm,
think they made them more biome specific with what they trade.
yeah. And then you could go into why is that? Like, why is mending so sought after in swamps? You
Yeah,
know,
that's a good point as well.
it's very why is it? Obviously, you could say the boring thing is like, well, they just chose biomes at random, of course. But lore-wise, the biomes have to mean something for it to make sense. Why is throwing out random enchantments, uh, looting free in this biome, but not in that one? What makes it so special in this biome? Um, I think villagers, when you get down to it, and the lore that they represent and can bring are really interesting,
Oh, it's
in my
super
opinion.
interesting. To me, the villagers are almost, I don't know, there's a lot going on there and a lot that you can theorize. It's uh, something that perplexes me is why these villagers must be pacifists, because I don't understand why they don't have their own defense against these raiders or these pillagers.
Hmm.
I would like to see maybe if they could incorporate some type of, I don't know, a soldier villager occupation. I don't know. You know what I mean? Something,
Yeah,
I think that would be kind of fun.
yeah, because I mean, I don't really like how the village a lot of people are like, well, they have the iron golems, they don't need to defend themselves. But it's like, okay, let's say that the villagers don't know how to heal iron golems. What then?
Exactly.
Because they're not really that advanced. They don't really have a spare 36 iron to make another one.
No,
Um, you know, in some way, it could be the most basic of ways. They need to be able to push back against zombies and, well, mostly zombies, you know?
I, yeah, because I think zombies are probably the villagers, well, besides the pillagers, but probably their biggest threat because of the infection that they present.
Yeah,
And that's a whole thing in itself. Why is it that there's a cure for these villagers, but there was never a, obviously they never found a cure for this quote unquote Steve, you know,
mm,
um, ancient builder as they're called. I that's all interesting to me as well. That, you know, what I mean,
yeah. I also want to know the difference between like curses, like or is it really is bad omen a curse? I'd say it is.
the bad omen. I
Um,
would say so.
like what is the difference between a curse and poison? You know, why can't I cure a pillager? What is wrong with? Because pillagers, I think, are always evil.
Yes.
Like there's something about them that makes them see red with everything, with the player, with villagers.
Why is that? You think what makes you think? What is their reason to attacking these villagers?
I think they were just another or the dominant humanoid life force at one point.
Mm,
Um, I think they had settlements at one point, like proper. Obviously, they got outposts and stuff like that, and
hmm.
wooden mansions. Um, but to me, wooden mansions aren't theirs because they're not marked by banners. If you look at an outpost, you're like, okay, that is definitely pillagers because it's their
Yes.
face. And you know they've got iron golems trapped, allays trapped for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's
Wooden
interesting.
mansions have no trace. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, of pillagers. You know they've got like little cat builds.
Statues, chickens.
Yeah, yeah, like but nothing about pillagers. They're just there. So I think they moved there for some reason, um, and are annoyed at villagers for whatever reason.
I think that's interesting because Woodland Mansion in itself sounds like somebody's personal mansion or a
Yeah,
family. It doesn't sound like a raiding party or an army, you know, a mansion. So I can, that makes a lot of sense that they took that place over and made it their own. I
yeah,
That's a good point because that's always intrigued me as well. I always thought that was kind of bizarre that these pillagers are in a mansion. It's just kind of
Yeah,
funny to me.
like it doesn't suit them, does it? It doesn't. To me, they're like mobs that are always on the move, hence
Yeah.
outposts everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yes.
make sense for them to be like, okay, let's just, you know, let's have a massive house. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't buy that.
No, I don't buy that either. No, I think you make a good point on that. And Michael, I have to say I'm approaching my allotted amount of time on the show here. I just want to ask you a couple more questions if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
I, I didn't know if you would mind telling us. You just started at Discord, right?
I did. Yes.
Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's just basically a group of Minecraft players talking about the game. We do get up to other shenanigans, and I say we, I mostly just watch. Um, Honestly, it's like the people that make the server. It's a really nice group of people. Um, and they talk a lot about, the stuff we've talked about here, like today, really. You know, the updates, the future of Minecraft, all these different things. And it's really nice to gauge other people's opinions on a regular basis, which is what
Mhm.
the Discord server provides. Um, it's just a really, I guess, good group of people.
No, from what I've seen, because I just recently joined it, and unfortunately, like my I don't have too much time on my hands. I'd like to delve into your Discord more and talk with people on there, but you do seem like you have a really great community that you're building on that Discord.
Yeah,
It's a lot of good subject matter, and it seems like you have some good folks on there. It's a really welcoming Discord for people that like Minecraft.
yeah,
And
and I think that's what Minecraft is all about. Really, it should be welcoming to anyone and everyone.
no, I agree with you 100%, and I think I think you're doing a good job with that. I also wanted to ask you, did you used to be on Twitch? Did you used to stream your plays
I did, yeah, a long time ago, back in the day.
back in the day?
Um, yeah, yeah. Things were like a lot. Twitch on Minecraft on Twitch was a lot different back then. It wasn't hardcore like fanatics. You know, I'm
Hmm.
not saying that's a bad thing. I love that hardcore has taken over Minecraft on Twitch. Um, but it was very different back then.
Really,
Um, yeah, it was. It was quite fun. But
I never got into streaming myself. I've had several people ask me, "Hey, do you have a Twitch or do you stream your stuff?" And I said, "No, I'm just an audio based podcast," and that's kind of how I am probably going to keep it. I just kind of I myself like the voice of word and
yeah,
and allowing my audience to use their imagination for and leaving it up to me to describe it well enough to fill in those gaps. Um,
well, I
but
mean, I think you've done a good job of that with your
well,
podcast so far. I mean,
thanks,
this episode alone,
thank
um,
you, Michael.
honestly, it's been really really entertaining. Um, because I don't normally, despite having a Discord server and people to talk to, I don't sit down for, we've been sat down for quite a good chunk of time
We
and
have
just talked, and it's really, really fun to just talk, in my opinion.
it is.
Um,
I feel like I could keep talking with you if I wasn't going to run out of time for my hosting platform. I could keep going. And
mm, yeah,
I don't know. If you'd like to be back on the show again one day, I would love that personally. I
yeah,
don't
of
know if it's
course, of course,
something that you would like to do.
yeah.
Um, I have one more question besides your Discord I just asked you about. Do you have other future plans with Minecraft? Um, like
Um,
podcasting or anything going on, or you just going to focus on your Discord for now?
I think focusing on the Discord and making sure everyone's good there and having a good time there.
Nice.
Because I don't want to like overstep, step on anyone's toes. Um, I think focusing on one thing is good for now, so I can, I guess, make that as best as I can be, as best as it can be, really.
Yeah.
It's like with you with your podcast, um, I like that some people will say, why aren't you doing Twitch or,
Mm.
YouTube or stuff like that? But I like that you're sticking to your guns. Um, and I like that you trust yourself in what you're doing. I think that's really important as a podcaster. So
Thank you,
for
Michael.
now, it's okay. I'm a big fan of what you do, and um, I really like Minecraft podcasts. I think we should do more of them. To be honest, I think there should be more of them because there's a lot to dive into, as I think we've demonstrated today.
Yes. Yeah, I really
Um,
loved your insights that you provided. You have a great deal of knowledge on this game. You have so much more technical knowledge than I can provide my audience that I was thrilled to get you on this show because you've explored much more in depth to this game than I have. It's no, you've been an extremely knowledgeable guest. I think my listeners out there are going to really appreciate the knowledge.
Good. I hope so too. I hope I brought something uh, for your show. I mean, I
Oh,
know
you
like a lot of listeners will tune into you, and that's great because I think you do offer a lot. I think you're very insightful as well. I don't want this to be a glazing session where I'm constantly, just. But I do really like what you're doing here, and I hope that you can get more guests on the show because I think this podcast has a lot of potential. Um, yeah, that's all I can say really.
well, thank you so much, and it's because of guests that I get on the show like you that provide great content like this for my amazing audience. and
Mm, yeah,
and if it wasn't for my audience, I wouldn't be doing this. And Michael, I just have to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on Realm News and to talk with me. I'm glad that I finally got to talk to you live in person because up till this point, we've only communicated via Twitter.
yeah,
And it's been
yeah.
a
Of
real
course.
honor. It's been an honor to have you on this show. I
No,
hope
I
to
mean,
have you back.
just to say, like, it's been an honor for me as well because I've always wanted to be part of a podcast because I could literally yap about this game for hours. I genuinely could. So
Well, let's plan another time to for you to be on
yeah,
if you'd like that.
yeah, I'm down, 100%.
Okay, you heard that, audience. Michael will be back in the future. We'll plan that out. I'll get a hold of you, Michael, and we'll plan that. Okay.
Yeah, of course, all good.
Hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I wish you the a great rest of your day, Michael.
I wish you the best as well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this episode, please follow me wherever you listen to podcasts so you can get my latest weekly episodes sent directly to you. Send this podcast to all of your friends that love Minecraft and to learn new knowledge. Comment on each episode and take a poll, and don't forget to rate the show. This will help me improve it. You can reach me at bio.link/realmnews. Again, you can reach me at bio.link/realmnews. There you will find the Discord. Let's build a Realm News community, folks. You can also find my email there and all my other social networks. There you will find some of the cool articles and videos from my research, polls, and Minecraft related content.